When I was young, I thought the dark days of unreason and dogmatism were behind us. Unfortunately, I was far too naive. Never before in this country's history have we seen such an increasingly large sect of the Democratic Party not believe in America's central tenets. America was born out of the Enlightenment philosophers who pondered human nature, who instead of putting liberty at the discretion of the state, at the individual level instead. Unfortunately, there is a large part of American society now who believes that part was made in bad faith. That part of putting liberty and justice at the individual level was made for the supremacy of one race over another. This could not be further from the truth. It dismays me because not every society is destined to be great. America is unique from every other civilization that has ever lived, but it is not unique in one important way. Each empire can only be an empire so long as the leaders and people make it that way. Unfortunately, in our universities, in academia, in Hollywood, in finance, in big tech, we have a one-party state. This is not sustainable. In pretty much every American institution, besides the White House, which will only be for another couple months, and the Supreme Court, and the Senate, besides those groups, besides those institutions, the left has a pure monopoly on power. This cannot be. It is one thing to have a nation that is small and homogeneous, that mostly agrees on foreign policy, on domestic policy. But when half the country hates vehemently those institutions of the one-party state, you do not have a country. America is great when we have disparate ideas in disparate places. When our orchestra boards, when our corporate board members hold one ideology and academia holds others, they can challenge one another. But America is ill because we don't have that anymore. We have a one-party state in our most important institutions. Unfortunately, half the country is okay with that. That is not to say that the other party is not without its faults, because it certainly is. But one party does not look at the data when it makes claims about the very nature of our country, of our world, and of our Western civilization. I discount these claims that many on the left make for social justice, because where there are ails of one community, they are completely silent about others in other parts of the world. They are silent about the Uyghurs in China, of women's rights in Saudi Arabia. They are completely silent on those. Yet they are so loud when it comes to disparities within America. That does not mean that every single claim they make is not without virtue or merit. But many are made in bad faith. Many of their claims about America are meant to tear it down, not make it better. I don't discount that most people in the social justice movements this summer were acting in good faith, but I know that many people on the top are too smart to know, or to not know what they were doing. They knew what they were doing. They want to tear America down at its seams. You cannot remove human nature from humans. America will be better when we reach across the aisle and speak with one another. And not only that, but we have truly ideologically diverse American institutions. We have companies in America that proclaim social justice, but that are so terrible in their labor habits in foreign lands. Why is that? because they know what they are doing. All they need to do in our Soviet-style age of censorship is pretend to care about justice while not actually holding those principles when others aren't looking. America and the West is ill, and we must save the West from itself. We must hold our leaders accountable. We must not give in to a one-party state. We must look at the evidence. Even if every single person in the room holds one point of view, you must play devil's advocate. If every single person in the room has the same opinion and you agree with it, something is very wrong. It means you aren't looking at yourself and the data and the evidence hard enough. You must look at the evidence before you make a conclusion. Unfortunately, this summer, the Democratic Party, or at least a very large part of it, completely threw out the window any sort of empirical conclusion making. That was gone this summer. Instead of actually going for real justice around the world, instead of acknowledging that these trends are headed in the right direction, they cared more about baseless virtue signaling. This is unfortunate. So, what is our solution? Hold our leaders accountable. If everyone in the same room has the same opinion as you, leave the room and look for another opinion. There are narratives spreading right now that are completely false, which are believed by tens of millions of people. Do not hate those people because we are forced to live with them. So try to change their mind. The West cannot survive if the people in the West do not believe in the West. This is not to say that you cannot criticize America, because you certainly can. You can criticize America while still believing in America. Unfortunately, this summer, that wasn't what was happening. You had people who wanted to tear down America. I saw private Instagram posts wishing harm on our president. It doesn't matter if you hate the president or not. We don't have a civilization if that is what is happening. There are people in other countries that have no connection with America, who like America more than many Americans like America. That's not sustainable. We must be united. We must be committed to America's true principles and not let subversion of the state, of rhetorical insurrection against our founding principles take hold. Our country is at stake.